Everybody wake up. It's nighttime. Everybody wake up. It's nighttime. Everybody wake up. It's nighttime. Everybody wake up. Everybody wake up. Everybody wake up. It's nighttime. Open up the doors. Let everybody in. Ready for an adventure. It's about to begin. We're going somewhere that we've never been before. I can't wait to see what God has in store. So put your cell phones down. Ain't swipe time. This is all about Jesus Christ time. 'Cause he's the way and the truth and the lifeline. Hands in the air, nighttime, high time. I got armor, yes I do. I got armor, how about you?
I got armor, yes I do. I got armor, how about you?
I got armor, yes I do. I got armor, how about you?
I got armor, yes I do. I got armor, how about you?
We got armor, yes we do. We got armor, how about you?
We do, yeah. We do,
I said that we got armor, yes we do. We got armor, how about you?
Good morning, kids, and welcome to our first ever virtual VBS. It's not quite what we thought it would be this year when we started planning for VBS, but we're here and this is what we've got, and we are so glad to have you joining us from home. We have a lot of really fun, exciting things here in store for you this week. And starting today, we want to welcome you to the North Castle. It's a little cold up here, but I think you guys are going to have a blast seeing what we have for you this morning, and then when you do all the activities at home with your activity bag. So let's get started. Let's welcome our cast here at the North Castle. We have a couple knights and a dragon just for you.
Sparky, I promise there are people out there. You just can't see them from so high. They're not all ice ants.
Well, when you're flying up high, everything looks like ants, and since I can't really see them, I figured that they were too.
That makes sense. Oh, hey Knights, welcome to the North Castle. Sorry for that awkward introduction. We just haven't had visitors here in such a long time, at least since it's been covered in ice and snow everywhere. We just haven't seen anybody. And Sparky here, he doesn't quite understand that you're all out there. He thinks you're all ice ants.
Sorry, it just doesn't make sense. Hey, I hope they aren't hoping to see the king. If you came to see the king, I regret to inform you he is not here. He's away on a quest to find the great armor.
We haven't even introduced ourselves yet. My name is Knight Henry, and this is my trusty companion Sparky, and that's Knight Alexander. Now, you may not have seen many dragons from where you're from. Don't worry, Sparky's not like other dragons. Sparky breathes ice, not fire.
Years ago, the royal blacksmith requested an armor dragon to help make armor for the king. I guess something was lost in translation because I'm not an armor dragon, I'm an Arctic dragon.
The blacksmith tried to keep Sparky around, but poor Sparky is allergic to all the dust and kept sneezing a lot. In fact, that's why we're covered in all this ice and snow. Every time Sparky sneezes, there's a blizzard.
Whoa, Sparky. I try to help him, but sometimes it just happens. And when it does, we all freeze. What I mean is we become really still and quiet, kind of like ice statues. Sparky, do you want to go ahead and show our friends?
Achoo!
Okay, well you may be wondering what happened to the king and all the other knights at North Castle.
They are on a quest.
Correct, my scaly friend. A while ago, the king learned of a great armor, far superior to anything he already had. So he's gone on a quest to search for the great armor. He went in one direction, and the knights went in another. Sparky, Alexander, and I have been tasked to stay here at the castle in case anyone returns triumphant.
Unfortunately, no one has returned yet. Tell them what you've discovered.
Oh, yes, that's right. I've been reading the king's book over there, and I don't think that the great armor is exactly what the king says it is. In fact, I don't think it's like any armor we're used to at all. This is just a hunch, but I've discovered 4 riddles, which I think could help us find the great armor eventually. Unfortunately, they're all written in a language that I don't understand.
4 riddles? I thought you told me you discovered 5 pickles. I wondered why you got so excited about pickles. Let me see the first riddle.
Okay, look at it. It's right over there in that book.
Hey, I know this language. It's an ancient dragon language. Not many dragons can translate it, but my uncle, Sir Sparkalot, taught me.
Sir Sparkalot? Who's that?
Yes, I was named after him before we realized that I couldn't breathe fire.
Oh, I didn't know that you could read.
Well, you never asked. What do you think I do on my days off? This riddle says, in order to find the belt of truth, you must study the fiery one plus 2.
So it's true. The great armor does exist, and the belt of truth must be one piece of it. It sounds like we just need to go searching in this king's book and look exactly where we need to. Maybe the riddle we just heard is the clue. Sparky, could you read us that riddle again?
In order to find the belt of truth, you must study the fiery one plus 2.
What could that mean?
Well, the last time I checked the cold, hard facts of math, 1 plus 2 equals 3. So, we need to study the fiery 3.
Fiery 3? Well, I do recall there is a story about 3 men who went into a fiery furnace. Could that be the story we need to study? If we open the king's book, the royal players may show us the answer. Let's open the book and see.
That's it. That's the answer. Come on, guys, we need to go find the belt of truth today.
I think our friends out there should come along and help us too. Can we make them knights along with us?
Of course we can. But before we head out for the day, we should probably figure out what the banner verse is for our week. It comes from Ephesians 6:10, and it goes like this. Be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his power. Now, why don't we all say that together?
Be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his power.
All you knights out there, let's see what we can discover together, starting with our first song, Knights of the North Castle.
Great idea.
All right, let's go, guys.
We're on a noble journey, protected by the King of Kings. Jesus calls and we will follow, 'cause we've been given all we need. We are the Knights of North Castle. We are ready for battle, wherever we go. We know that we won't ever be shaken. We wear the armor that saves us. Oh, we are the Knights of North Castle. We got the sword of the Spirit, the shield of faith, the helmet of salvation, and the breastplate of justice, and the belt of truth, the shoes of peace to go spread the good news. The sword of the Spirit, the shield of faith, the helmet of salvation, and the breastplate of justice, and the belt of truth, the shoes of peace to go spread the good news. We're ready to go spread the good news. We are the Knights of North Castle. We are ready for battle, wherever we go. We know that we won't ever be shaken. We wear the armor that saves us. Oh, we are the Knights of North Castle. We are the Knights of North Castle.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Story Time here at VBS. Today, I want to tell you a story about 3 people who loved God so much that they courageously stood up to a very mean and powerful king. Let me introduce you to these 3 people. Their names are Hananiah. I'll put Hananiah right there. Mishael. We are in an ice castle, so this Mishael's got a scarf on. And Azariah. Now, obviously, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah weren't really Big Bird, a snowy penguin, and a little egg. But that's going to be the representation of our 3 characters so far. Now, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, they lived in a place called Jerusalem in a kingdom of Judah. Now, they were among the very best and brightest of Jerusalem. And they had a friend named Daniel. You may have heard of Daniel in the lion's den. Well, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, and the rest of the best and brightest young people of Jerusalem one day got taken from their home in Jerusalem by a very mean king. This king was named Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar was the king of the Babylonian Empire. This is Nebuchadnezzar. Wasn't really a crocodile, but you get the idea. Oh, Nebuchadnezzar had a very small heart and a very dark mind. And Nebuchadnezzar decided that he was going to punish this small kingdom of Judah by taking all of the young people, the best and brightest, to his kingdom, where they would learn, well, the Babylonian ways, learn the Babylonian gods, and learn the Babylonian language, so that the best and brightest of Jerusalem would not be able to give their gifts to their kingdom, but to his. And so Nebuchadnezzar gave these best and brightest new names, Babylonian names. To Azariah, Mishael, and Hananiah, he gave the names Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And to Daniel, he gave the name Belteshazzar. He wanted to make sure that they forgot their old names and their old God and their old ways and their old values. He wanted to give them completely new identities because they were now in his service in Babylon. Well, after 3 years of this new school in a new land, they were put in position to be given places of responsibility in the Babylonian province. So they all started taking these new positions as counselors in this province of Babylon, when all of a sudden King Nebuchadnezzar came up with a grand idea. He decided that he was going to build a giant statue that was 90 feet tall and 9 feet wide. Now, I actually have been to this province of Babylon. It's in modern-day Iraq. And I happened to discover an exact replica of this statue that was constructed by King Nebuchadnezzar. Do you want to see it? This is what the statue looked like. Aha! Pretty cool, huh? Well, it may not be an exact replica of the giant statue in the province of Babylon, but, you know, it's pretty close. I imagine they look similar. Well, imagine this being 90 feet tall, 9 feet wide, and King Nebuchadnezzar loved his statue. Mwah! Love you, statue. I love you so much that I'm going to make everyone in my kingdom, as soon as the trumpet blares and as soon as all of the music plays, everyone in the kingdom, including these people, must bow down and worship you because you're an amazing statue. And if anyone doesn't, then they will be thrown into a fiery furnace. I will make sure that every single person bows down to worship this lovely statue. Well, after all of the governors and all of the counselors, everyone who mattered was gathered up and made sure that they would be the very first to dedicate and worship this statue, the instruction was given to all of them. As soon as you hear the music play, bow down and worship this statue. And if you don't, you will be thrown into the fiery furnace. Well, after the instructions were given, sure enough, the trumpets and all of the instruments blared. And everyone immediately fell down on their faces and worshiped the statue that King Nebuchadnezzar had erected. That is, everyone except Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, or as they were known in Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Well, this was reported to King Nebuchadnezzar, and Nebuchadnezzar said, "What? Someone is not bowing down to my glorious statue? How dare they?" And then sure enough goes and he finds Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego still standing tall, not worshiping. And so he says to them, "You three, you know the decree. You are to bow down and worship this statue, and if you don't, you will be thrown into the fiery furnace. How dare you? Do you not know that there is no God that could save you from the wrath of my hands?" And Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego look at the king and they say, O King Nebuchadnezzar, the God of our people, the God who is the Lord of lords and King of kings, that God is certainly able to deliver us from your hands. You are not more powerful than our God. And we will not worship your statue. Our God may deliver us, our God may not. But either way, we will not bow down to your statue. Well, King Nebuchadnezzar absolutely flipped his lid. I mean, he flipped out. I'm going to go grab him. Come back, Nebuchadnezzar. Here he is. He flipped out. He absolutely lost his temper. So he said that he wanted his furnace to be increased in heat 7 times. And so it was done. And then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were tied up and thrown into the fiery furnace. This is the fiery furnace right here, in case you were wondering. And the king, who was so angry he couldn't catch his breath, he just wanted to watch Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego be punished in this fiery furnace. But he noticed as he looked in that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they were just hanging out. Nothing was happening. In fact, King Nebuchadnezzar saw something that made him absolutely lose his mind. He said to the soldiers, "Did you not throw 3 men into the furnace?" And the soldiers said, "Yes, we threw 3. And he said, "But I see 4. I see Shadrach, I see Meshach, I see Abednego, but I also see a 4th who has the appearance of an angel. I did not throw a 4th person in, and yet there is a 4th with them. And all of them are walking around unharmed in the furnace." And so King Nebuchadnezzar called out to them, "Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, come out of the furnace. Your God has delivered you." And so out they come. Shadrach and Meshach and Abednego, they just hop on out of there. And there was not a singed hair. There was not a single burn. Nothing was wrong with them whatsoever. And King Nebuchadnezzar fell on his face and said, "Truly, your God is the one God who is more powerful than me and any else. Your God has saved you." Now, it turns out that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego knew that the whole time. And no king, no matter how small a heart or how great the hatred, they knew that they would stay true to the God of love that was their God, no matter what. I hope you can have that same kind of courage to stand tall, like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Well, as you guys know, each day at VBS, we go to all kinds of different stations to be able to learn about this story and about our theme. Well, since we can't move around the church together, we decided to bring each station to you. And I know one of your favorites is, of course, science with Dylan. So today, Dylan has a really fun experiment. He's going to show you how to do this, and then you can try it at home.
Hey Knights, welcome to Science, and thanks Holly for that introduction. Once again, my name is Dylan, and for the next 4 days, we're going to be doing some fun science experiments with each and every single one of you to be able to show our Bible story in a different way. So today we learned all about 3 friends that were able to create a big protection and barrier around themselves in the fire. That barrier was God's love and the love that he had for them. And today we're going to try to create our own armor as we armor up with the belt of truth. So today we're going to make some rock candy. Now, rock candy is a super saturated solution. That just means it has a lot more sugar than it has water. And so today when you're at home, you're going to need a few simple things in order to make rock candy. We have a 1-cup measuring device. We have any sort of pot, a funnel, a spoon, a plate. Then we also have a lollipop stick, one of your Kool-Aid packets that should be in your VBS bag. We also have a clothespin, a mason jar, and a whole lot of sugar. So to make rock candy, there are 3 things that I think, if you do them correctly, you're going to be able to have a nice solution here at the end. Now, the first thing to do is to put 1 cup of water in your pot. Once you have the 1 cup of water in your pot, you can go ahead and put it on a burner and let it simmer. While you're doing that, make sure that you get your lollipop stick right here nice and wet. And you're going to do this so that you can put some sugar on a plate. And once you have your sugar on a plate with that wet lollipop stick, go ahead and roll it around in that sugar to make sure that it's completely coated. Now, if you only coat the bottom half, that's okay, but it's okay to coat the whole thing as well. Once it's coated, go ahead and set it aside for about 20 minutes to dry. Now, by the time that your lollipop stick is done, your pot of water should be simmering. And when this is the case, you're going to be adding the sugar in small amounts at a time. So our first thing was the lollipop stick. Our second tip of the day is to add in 1 cup of sugar at a time, no more. So once you have your water simmering, add in that first cup of sugar to your pot and go ahead and mix it around. And you're going to want to keep it in your pot and mixing it around all the way until the sugar dissolves completely. Now, it might take a minute or two, but that's okay. It's okay to be patient. Because remember, the belt of truth that we're looking for didn't show up today. It's going to take a while. Then we're going to add that second cup of sugar after it's dissolved. And we're going to do the same exact thing. We're going to stir it around and wait until the sugar dissolves completely. Again, this is going to take about 1 to 2 minutes. And once it does dissolve, we're going to add our last cup of sugar. And then stir that around completely until the sugar does dissolve. At this point, we're going to wait until our solution comes to a boil. This should take about 5 minutes. And once that does happen, we're going to go ahead and open our Kool-Aid packet here. You should have 1 or 2 inside your bag. And we're going to pour it into our solution. At this point, the Kool-Aid is going to fully mix with our sugary water. And we're going to let it come to a boil for about 1 minute. After that happens, go ahead and stop. Set your sugar solution to the side and let it cool off for at least 20 minutes so it can come closer to room temperature. At this point, you should get your mason jar ready, and your lollipop stick should be at that point where it's almost dry and ready to go. So here's where your funnel comes into play. After you wait patiently for that 20 minutes, you're going to pour your sugary solution using the funnel carefully into the mason jar. Now, of course, during this whole experiment, it's great to have a parent's help because you're going to be dealing with very hot and dangerous liquid. Once you have your solution, pour it into the mason jar. Go ahead and take your clothespin and that lollipop stick that should be dried by now. And here's a nifty trick. If you put the clothespin and attach it to the lollipop as far in as you can, you'll actually be able to use the clothespin as a stabilizer that will keep your lollipop vertically up and down. Now, one more trick that I can give you is you should also have some blue tack that should be in your bags. Now, this is for an experiment later with science, but you can actually use just a tiny little bit of it if you pull it off, and if you attach the bottom of it to the clothespin, and then attach it back to the jar, it's going to help so that clothespin doesn't move around as much. Now, here's something important to keep in mind. Rock candy takes about 5 to 7 days before it starts forming crystals, and you can keep this lollipop stick in your mason jar for up to 2 weeks. The longer you keep it in, the bigger the crystals are going to form. So you want to put it somewhere safe where it's not going to knock over. For example, I have a cat who actually knocked over my first try with this. So try to keep it in a cupboard up high, away from any prying paws. Now, after a few days, your sugary solution should look something like this. Now, I chose the blue raspberry lemonade flavor. You'll have your own and a unique flavor to use, but of course, it's not going to look the same. And again, after about 3 or 4 days, you should notice that some crystals are starting to form on your lollipop stick, and it's becoming a little bit bigger. After about 2 weeks, your rock candy should be ready to eat. And then we'll be able to enjoy that belt of truth, that patience that we waited so long to create our science experiment. Now, Knights, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again tomorrow.
Wow, I don't know about you, but I can't wait to go home and try to make some rock candy. Though it does sound like you're going to have a little bit of patience to get to enjoy it. Next up, we're going to move on to our art station. And today, Matt, who's doing our artist demonstration, he has 2 demonstrations for you. I think you're going to really like the second one. Enjoy.
That's okay. Hey, Knights, we've got a special treat today. Instead of only making one art project,
We get the joy of making two. Now, in our story, we learned about three friends that stayed true to God. We learned that through God's strength, we can speak up and tell the truth, and we can stand up for it as well. Just like the three friends, our first art project, we're going to be making a friendship bracelet using 3 strands of string. Now for this, you're going to want to get your 3 strands out. It should all be in your VBS bag. Along with your 3 strands of string, it's going to be really useful to have some tape with you as well. Now what I like to do is I like to tape the end of your 3 strands down onto the table. I know it's a little bit hard to see, but once you have it taped down, you'll want to separate your 3 strands so that you have an outside string, a middle string, and another outside string. Once you're all set and ready to go, you're going to just start braiding your 3 strands of string, just like the instructions say. Now, it takes a little bit, so you have to be patient, just like the rock candy. But after you spend some time doing that, you'll end up with something like this. And this beautiful bracelet you can use to put on your wrist or your ankle and share it with all your other VBS friends. For our second project, we are going to be making our own VBS t-shirts. Now to do this, you're going to need your white t-shirt that's in your bag. You're going to need some vinegar, one of those bottles you have in there with the lid, and then your rubber bands and a Kool-Aid packet. Once you have that all together, the first thing you're going to want to do is take your vinegar and pour it into your bottle. Again, just like making the rock candy, it's going to be a good idea to have some adult supervision for you. Adults are always better at pouring this vinegar for some reason. I always seem to spill it. Once you pour the vinegar in, you're going to take your Kool-Aid packet and you're going to dump it inside the bottle. Whew, smells good. And what you'll find is it makes a beautiful color. Mine's kind of an orange color right now that I see. You want to make sure that lid's on tight and you're going to stir it around. All right, with your t-shirt, now there's tons of different designs you can do with your t-shirt. The one I'm going to show you is kind of a standard one. What I'm going to do is pick a spot where I want my spiral to be, and I'm just going to start twisting my t-shirt in a circle like that. Once I get it into the spiral shape, I'm going to use these rubber bands to rubber band the outside together just to hold it in place. And once I've got it rubber banded, I'm going to use my tie-dye solution and spray colors all over it. You can use your different colors. I think you have about 3 different Kool-Aid packets to use in yours. Once you have it all done, you're going to end up with something like this, rubber banded together and with different beautiful colors all around it. And we're going to put it inside a bag just so it doesn't get messy and keep it for 24 hours. After 24 hours, you're going to put it through the washing machine, and then on Thursday, we're all going to wear our VBS shirts together. Well, thanks for joining us for Art Nights. Have a great day.
coolest things. I bet if we put 1,000 of those bracelets together, we might be able to make a nice winter coat for me up here in the cold North Castle. It sure does get cold. Speaking of cold, the cold makes me even hungrier. Well, guess what? It's snack time, I think, and Holly's going to demonstrate how you're going to make your first snack of VBS. I'll go ahead and leave that up to her.
I know, usually at VBS, you guys don't have to make your own snack. You just show up and they're ready for you. But since we're at home, we thought you guys could make your own snacks at home. I think you guys are going to have fun. Plus, you get to probably eat a little more than you normally would. So, here's what we're going to make some fire stacks. And it takes a few ingredients that hopefully Mom and Dad have been able to help you. But the thing is, you can be as creative as you want. So, the first thing we're going to do is we have some white chocolate that we melted And now we're going to put some red in it, because red is for fire, right? So let's see if we can make this a little bit more red. Look at that. Okay, so it's a little pink. Let's put a little bit more in. There we go. We're getting a little bit more red. All right. So then you're going to take your pretzel sticks or chow mein noodles. You're going to dump some of those in. You can put as many or as little as you want. And then this is where you get to be creative. You can add some peanuts or other kind of nuts. You can add marshmallows, which I'm going to do. You can also even add, Skittles or raisins or whatever kinds of fun things you want. Then, once you put all these together, you're going to mix it up and make a really sugary mess. That's the best kind of snack, right? All right, so once we start getting that all mixed together, you're going to take some wax paper and you're going to put it on a plate or on a tray, and you're going to drop spoonfuls of your fiery stacks right like this. You can make them look a little bit like a fire stack. Once they harden, you can pick them up and you can eat them. And then you can remind yourself of this story when Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they went into the fire, but God helped them, and they had faith in God, and they didn't burn up. I hope you guys enjoy your snack at home this week.
Now that looks delicious. I think I could eat a whole pan of that. Maybe I will. But maybe I'll ask my mom or dad or somebody that I trust how much I can eat before I do. Well, we also, as a part of VBS, want to show our love to the wider world. That's what the God of love wants us to do. And so I'm going to show you a way in which you can share your love with the community around you. Now, you should have in your VBS bag a red piece of paper. This is falling down, so I'm going to put it over here. And then we're going to take a marker and fold this piece of paper in half. And we're going to take our marker or a pencil, and from the bended side, we're going to kind of draw a half of a heart. This is sort of a trick of how to cut out a heart easily. You see what I did there? Took the bended piece of paper, just made a nice swoop, half a heart. And then we're going to take some scissors. Kids, make sure that you ask your parents about what kind of scissors are safest. And then we're going to just cut that heart out. Just cut half the heart in that red paper, just how you have it bended. And voila, you unfold it and have a beautiful heart. Now, what you're going to do from this point is just write a prayer that's on your heart. Could be a prayer about a family member, a sibling. Could be a prayer about Lincoln, Nebraska, or about our whole world. There's so many things we could be praying for that you might want to invite God to be in the midst of. And so whatever prayer's on your heart, just write that prayer on your heart. And then you're going to take some tape and tape it up into your window so that your prayer is facing out of your house into the world. And this is a way that you can share your love with the world around you so that love can seep in to all of creation. Let's spread our love with the world around us.
Another part of VBS is our game time, where we're usually outside in the courtyard. Well, it's a little hard to do a game when we're all spread out so far apart. So this year, we decided to give you a rec challenge. Ella is going to give you your instructions on how you can do your rec challenge at home to help you connect with our story. Take it away, Ella.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Rec Challenge. Each day for VBS, we're going to be doing a daily rec challenge that gets us outside and gets us active. I'm Ella, and this is my daughter, Isla. And today's rec challenge is how low can you go limbo? You can use a broomstick or, in this instance, we have a pool noodle to see how low we can go. All right, so you can make fun with this and kind of do some different things. You can do a funny dance when you go under or make a silly sound. You can also do some crab walks or, bear walks, something like that to kind of get under. Make sure you post a picture of how low you can go too. So let's show them how we do it. Here we go. There we go. You think she can go lower? Yeah, let's try it. Go a little lower, Isla. Do a little, oh, okay, she's going extra low this time. Awesome work. Okay, and now do a silly sound when you go under, like maybe like a robot or something. Perfect. So you can have fun with it. Break out of your comfort zone and just have a lot of fun. We'll see you again tomorrow for another daily rec challenge. Next we have singing. So you'll be learning a new song called Earthquake. So stand up and sing. See you tomorrow.
That night when you feel the fear start creeping in, the light that once burned bright is barely flickering. It seems like hope is nowhere to be found. The only thing to do is shout the name of Jesus loud. Feel the ground move, feel the earth shake. The power of God is moving like an earthquake. See the walls fall, see the chains break. The power of God is moving like an earthquake. Feel the ground move, feel the earth shake. The power of God is moving like an earthquake. See the walls fall, see the chains break. The power of God is moving like an earthquake. Your love came and found me, took me by the hand. Your grace made a way, don't need a second chance. 'Cause I was once a prisoner, now I'm free. Sin forever lost its grip on me, so I will sing. Feel the ground move, feel the earth shake. The power of God is moving like an earthquake. See the walls fall, see the chains break. The power of God is moving like an earthquake. Feel the ground move, feel the earth shake. The power of God is moving like an earthquake. See the walls fall, see the chains break. The power of God is moving like an earthquake. So put your hands in the air and your feet on the floor. Let's shake, 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 shake like an earthquake. Hands in the air and your feet on the floor. Let's shake, 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 shake like an earthquake. Hands in the feet on the floor. Let's shake, 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 shake like an earthquake. Hands in the feet on the floor. Let's shake, 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 shake like an earthquake. Feel the ground move, feel the earth shake. The power of God is moving like an earthquake. See the walls fall, see the chains break. The power of God is moving like an earthquake. Feel the ground move, feel the earth shake. The power of God is moving like an earthquake. See the walls fall, see the chains break. The power of God is moving like an earthquake.
That was a gnarly earthquake. What a fantastic day it's been, showing the importance of standing true and staying faithful to God.
Did they find the belt of truth? What does it look like?
I think that they already had the belt of truth on them when they came here today. The belt of truth is a metaphor. It means more than just wearing an actual belt. You know what a belt does, don't you, Sparky?
Without one, your pants may fall down.
Exactly. The belt was the first piece of armor the Roman soldier put on. It kept the clothes close to the body, and it kept all the armor together. The Apostle Paul wrote a letter to the Ephesians. That's where we're told about the belt of truth. Paul knew that would be a way for people to understand what he was saying.
Well, the belt is still a very important piece of clothing even today.
That's true. We can't stand up for what we believe if we don't have truth. Remember our three friends from the story? They stood for truth. They would never serve the king's gods or worship his statue. But did they stay true to their God? They did.
And their God had the power to save. That gave them the courage to stand up to the king.
Exactly. All right, Sparky, I think it's time to go for today. Why don't you tell the kids goodbye and we'll see them tomorrow?
Bye, Knights. See you tomorrow.
Knights, I hope you guys have had a great day here with us at VBS. But the day's not over. Now you get to, at home, do all these fun activities. And we're hoping that you'll join us on our Zoom rooms here in about 15 minutes. We have VBS leaders that are excited to be with you. And then you can also see all your friends. That's one of the best parts of VBS. So we hope you'll join us on our Zoom room. And then, of course, join us back here tomorrow at 10 a.m. for even more fun, more science experiments, a new Bible story, and of course, some new music. Before we go, let's close with prayer. Dear God, thank you for giving us the strength and the faith to be able to stand up for what is true. Thank you for always being with us. We pray all of this in your holy name. Amen. We'll see you tomorrow.